Good morning, students. In history part, today we are going to see Unit 2 Great Thinkers and New Faiths. Students, listen carefully. Make a note of each and every important points in your social activity note. The doubts will be clarified on the reopening day. Now let's recall what are all the topics we have discussed in the last session. Jainism and Buddhism. In this session, today we are going to see about the causes and the influence of Buddhism in Tamil Nadu and the similarities and dissimilarities of Jainism and Buddhism. Buddhist Sangha. Buddha laid foundation for a missionary organization called Sangha, meaning association, for the propagation of his faith. The members were called bhikshus. Bhikshus is nothing but monks. Students, Sangha means some Buddhists choose to become monks and nuns and make religion the most important thing in their lives. They are known as the Sangha. Their job is to teach and guide other Buddhists using the Buddha's teachings. And the temples exist in all Buddhist countries, but Buddhists do not need to go there to worship and meditate. They led a life of austerity. Austerity is nothing but simple quality and self-disciplined life. Chaitya, a Buddhist shrine or a meditation hall. Chaitya is nothing but where the place of worship in Buddhism. Viharas, monasteries or living quarters for monks. Viharas were dwelling place of monks, features of the Chaityas and Viharas. Stupas, built over the remains of Buddha's body, they are monuments of great artistic value. Stupa is nothing but it is a mound-like or dome-shaped structure and it is used as a place of meditation, which is a prayer hall or temple containing a stupa. Buddhist sect. To clarify this complex movement of spiritual and religious thought, it may help you to understand two main classifications of Buddhism. One is Hinayana. Hinayana is also called as Theravada. Hinayana means the school of elders. First, did not worship idols or images of Buddha. They did not worship a statue that people treat as a god or images of Buddha. Practiced austerity. It is nothing but they lead a simple quality and self-disciplined life. Believed that salvation of the individual as its goal. Students, here the word salvation is nothing but someone being saved from danger, loss or harm. Their spirit is a state of being saved from evil and sin. And they used only Prakrit language. Hinayana is also known as Theravada. They spread to Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Burma and Southeast Asian countries. Now let's see about Mahayana. Mahayana is nothing but the great vehicle. Worship images of Buddha. Mahayana sect had their faith in worshipping Buddha as a god in form of images rather than in form of symbols. So basically after the fourth council, Buddha was being worshipped in the form of images. Observed elaborate rituals. Mahayana Buddhists engaged in a tremendous range and variety of rituals and ceremonies. And also, they followed a complex meditation practices, ritual devotion to Buddhas. But Hinayana led a simple and self-disciplined life. They believed that salvation of all beings as its objective. Their goal was to open up the possibility of Buddhahood, that is, to become a Buddha, to all sentient beings. They used only Sanskrit language. Spread to Central Asia, Tibet, China, and Japan, where middle path was accepted. The middle way or middle path is the term that Gautama Buddha used to describe the character of the Noble Eightfold Path. Now let's see the difference between Hinayana and Mahayana. Did not worship idols or images of Buddha. Hinayana did not worship idols or images of Buddha, but Mahayana worshipped images of Buddha. Hinayana practiced austerity, that is, simple and self disciplined life. Mahayana observed elaborate rituals. Hinayana believed that salvation of the individual as its goal, but Mahayana believed that salvation of all beings as its objective. Hinayana used Prakrit language and Mahayana used Sanskrit language. Hinayana is also known as Theravada and Mahayana spread to Central Asia, Ceylon, Burma, Nepal, Tibet, China, Japan, where middle path was accepted. And Hinayana spread Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Burma and Southeast Asian countries. Now let's see the causes for the spread of Buddhism. Simplicity of the teachings of Buddha in local language appealed to people. Students, as compared with Jainism, Buddhism was essentially simple. It did not confuse the people. Eightfold Path and concept of non-violence were so simple that people could easily understand and follow these. Buddhism rejected elaborate religious customs, whereas the practice of orthodox Vedic religion insisted on expensive rituals and sacrifice. The people already fed up with the Brahmanical manipulation of Vedic religion and then came to accept a Buddhism as a refreshing change. Buddha's emphasis was on observance of Dhamma. Dhamma is based upon the actions and teachings of the Buddha. Buddhists are encouraged to follow. Buddhist Sanghas played an important role in spreading the messages of Buddha. Royal patronage under Ashoka, Kanishka, and Harsha also helped the causes of Buddhism. Royal patronage of Buddhism also accounted for its rapid rise. Students, as you already know that Buddha was a Kshatriya prince. So the kings like Ashoka, Kanishka and Harshavardhan patronized Buddhism and helped to spread throughout the India. Ashoka deputed his children Mahendra and Sanghamitra to Sri Lanka for the spread of Buddhism. Viharas or the Buddhist monasteries become great centers was Nalanda, where Huan Isang the Chinese pilgrim studied for many years. The famous Chinese pilgrim Huan Sang was a student of the Nalanda University. Now let's see about frescoes painting. Do you know, students, what is meant by fresco painting? Yes, frescoes on the ceilings and walls of the Ajanta caves in Aurangabad, Maharashtra depict the Jataka tales. Fresco is a very good way of painting pictures on walls. It is much easier than painting on dry plaster because when paint is put onto dry plaster, it sinks straight in. Painting on fresh plaster means that the artist can spread the paint much easier. Fresco is the green method of painting because it does not use dangerous chemicals. The water, the calcite and the colors do not cause pollution. Now let's see the similarities of Jainism and Buddhism. Both Mahavira and Buddha hailed from royal families, yet they renounced the royal privileges and chose to adopt an ascetic life. Students, as you already know that Mahavira was a Kshatriya prince. At the age of 30, he renounced his princely status to adopt an ascetic life. And similarly, Gautama Buddha was a Kshatriya prince belonging to the ruling of Sakya clan. At the age of 29, he left his princely status to ascetic life. Denied the authority of Vedas. Taught in the language of common people. They used the Prakrit and Sanskrit language to the people. Admitted disciples from all the caste and from both the genders. They reject the priest of the formal rituals and the caste system. Buddha urged people to seek enlightenment through meditation. Opposed blood sacrifice. They do not injure, torture, or kill any creature or living beings. Believed in the doctrine of karma. As you already know that what is meant by karma? Yes, what we experience in our present life is the result of our past actions. Emphasized on right conduct and right knowledge instead of performing religious ceremonials and rituals as the means to achieve salvation. Now let's see the dissimilarities of Jainism and Buddhism. It followed extreme path, that is liberation from the cycle of birth and death. It followed middle path. The middle path generally refers to the avoidance of two extremes. One is practical life indulgence in sensual pleasures and the other one is severe asceticism. Second one, it remained in India only. Jainism remained in India only, but Buddhism spread across many parts of the world. Jainism, it does not believe in the existence of God but believes life in every living being. It emphasizes on anatma and anitya, that is the eternal soul and impermanence. Buddhist councils. First, Rajagriha. Second, Vaishali. Third, Pataliputra. Fourth, Kashmir. The first Buddhist council convened in Rajagriha. The first Buddhist council was presided by monk. It was just held after the death of the Buddha. And the second Buddhist council was held at Vaishali. It was under the patronage of Kalasoka. The second Buddhist council was presided over by Sabakami. The third Buddhist council was held at Pataliputra. It was under the patronage of Emperor Ashoka. The fourth Buddhist council was convened in Kashmir. It was under the patronage of Emperor Kanishka. Hinayana and Mahayana sect of Buddhism diverged after this council. Now let's see the influence of Buddhism in Tamil Nadu. Buddhism spread to Tamil Nadu much later than Jainism. Students, Buddhism flourished in Tamil Nadu in two phases. Firstly, in the early years of Pallava rule and secondly in the Chola period. Manimegalai, one of the epics of the post-Sangam age, is a Buddhist literature. There is an elaborate description about Kanchipuram in classical epic Manimegalai. Students, the well-known Tamil Buddhist epics found were Manimegalai, Silapadigaram, Valayapati, Kundalakesi and Sivaga Sindamani. Manimegalai, a purely Buddhist work of the third Sangam period in Tamil literature. It is the most supreme and famous among the Buddhist work done in Tamil works. Kanchipuram was a famous Buddhist center from where Dinaga, the famous Buddhist logician, and Dharmapala, a great scholar of Nalanda University, hailed. Huyen Isang, who visited Kanchipuram in the 7th century AD, noticed the presence of 100 feet stupa built by Ashoka there. The Chinese Buddhist monk scholar Huyen Sang, who visited India in the 7th century, described Kanchipuram as a flourishing city and stated the most of the population was Buddhist. And also he says there were over 100 Buddhist monasteries and over 1,000 Buddhist monks. Jataka tales. The Jataka tales have been written in the Sanskrit language and are a set of stories about the life of Buddha in human and animal form. The basic premise and the moral of each story is the same as the original and intended to teach children the values propagated by the Buddhist culture. It concerning the previous births of Gautama Buddha in both human and animal form. The term Jataka may also refer to a traditional commentary on this book. Now let's see one of the short story in Jataka tales. The Tiger and the Woodpecker. Once upon a time, there lived a tiger in a jungle. One day, the tiger ventured out of his cave and went looking for a prey. So, he found a suitable prey and began munching away, as the tiger was enjoying his meal. While having his meal, a big bone got stuck in the tiger's throat. He was not able to remove it and was in great pain. A tiny bone brought tears in the mighty tiger's eye. Days passed, and the tiger could not get the bone out. The tiger thought, I'm sure I will die of starvation. I have to get this bone out. A kind hearted woodpecker offered to help the tiger. The woodpecker told the tiger that he would only take out the bone if the tiger promised not to eat him while removing the bone. And also, you shall give me a share of flesh of the animals you kill from this point onwards. The woodpecker hopped inside the tiger's mouth and easily pulled out the bone. The tiger kept his promise and let the woodpecker fly away. Soon the tiger recovered completely and killed another animal. The woodpecker also thought of joining the tiger and asked for a small share of meat. To her utter disappointment, the tiger blandly refused to share his meal with her. The tiger said, How dare you ask me for more favors? I have already done so much for you. The woodpecker did not understand what the tiger was talking about. The tiger then clarified, You should be thankful to me that I did not devour you when you were taking out the bone from my throat. Now do not expect anything else from me and go away. The woodpecker said to himself, It was indeed a mistake to help such an ungrateful creature. Nevertheless, it is not worth being angry or holding grudge against someone as unworthy as him. Now let's revise the previous session topics. First, let's see about Jainism, the origin of Jainism. The exact place where Jainism started is not confirmed, but India is most commonly referred to as a place of origin. Jainism as a religion was at various times found all over South Asia, including Sri Lanka. Jainism was founded by Mahavira in the 6th century BCE. It contains elements of Hinduism and Buddhism, and they practiced non-violence or non-injury. Students note it carefully. Jainism founded by Mahavira in the 6th century BC. Now let's see about Mahavira. Mahavira was originally born as Vardhamana in northeast India. He was a prince, thus a member of the Kshatriya warrior caste. When Prince Vardhamana turned 30, not long after the death of both his parents, he left the royal palace to live the life of an ascetic. Five great vows of Jainism: non-violence, truth, non-stealing, celibacy, non-attachment, or apragriha. And the three jewels are right faith, right knowledge, and right conduct. Buddhism. Students, note it carefully. Gautama Buddha was the founder of Buddhism. His real name was Siddhartha. Now let's see four great sights. An unscared old man in rags with his bent back, and sick man suffering from an incurable disease, a man's corpse being carried to the burial ground by weeping relatives, an ascetic. Buddha's four noble truths. Life is full of sorrow and misery. Desire is a cause of misery. Sorrows and sufferings can be removed. Noble Eightfold Path. And the Eightfold Path are right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right knowledge, right meditation. Now let's see today's activity. Read any one story from Jatakas and write a similar story on your own.